Mayfield, possibly out of Cleveland. You want to be a boss? That's how you be a boss. I did. I made a mistake. Hey, I got to say good morning to you. I am sweating. I am sick. I am rolling, though. Don't even at me, people, because we have a show for you. We got a monster. Lomas Brown should be in the Hall of Fame. Lomas Brown is the radio analyst for the Detroit Lions. He's going to join me in 15 minutes. Something happened with our producer, Kaylee Caronia. Now, Haley, I call her Kahaley. Haley got her TikTok video wiped off, and we're going to get into it. It's something that you need to see for your children because your kids are on TikTok, and you need to pay attention to it. Aaron Perini is going to join us. She, as you all know, is a contributor all over the place, and she's going to join us. There is a guy named Sullivan. Sullivan ripped women's sports. He's a woke liberal women's advocate, and he ripped women's athletics, and we're not happy about it, and we're going to rip him a new one coming up. What time? Oh, I don't know, 10 o'clock. Jerry Sullivan, we're coming for you, baby. You cannot treat women the way he thinks he can treat women because this guy right here is the number one advocate for women in the world, women's sports. Jeff Clark, Jeffro Records is going to join. I'm not going to help him with bets because I have struggled. I have not been great. I am not happy with myself. But welcome. And, of course, we have the damn awards. Look, there's a couple of things that I'm really getting tired of in this world, okay? And one of those things is our president. Now, I've been tired of our president for a while. I've gone and been very vocal about how do you all, because I did not vote for him, so I am going to say you all, and I know most of you on here didn't vote for him. How did you all vote for this mess? Serious business. How did you? Now, we're going to put a montage up of our president speaking. Now, here's my thought on the United States, and I want your opinion on this. The YouTube chat is up. We already got 100 people rolling on there. Things are going to be popping today. But I want your opinion on this. We are the United States of America. We are not some other country. And I don't care whether that country is an advanced country, a third world country, a corrupt country, a country at war, China, whatever. We are the United States of America. We are looked at from every other nation with envy, some with hate because of the way we live, the freedoms that we have. We fought for those freedoms. I didn't, but some very brave dudes certainly did. Dudes and ladies certainly did. They fought hard for them. People lost their lives, limbs. We don't treat our veterans well enough, and that angers me as well. So as a country that is looked up to by literally every other country, why are we allowing ourselves to be taken advantage of? Why are we allowing ourselves to be corrupt, and more corrupt on a daily basis? And here's what I'm talking about. We all pretty much know that the elections that we just had were influenced by social media. How much? Who knows? We know this. But everybody leading up to this lied. The president, Trump, told you, look, this is censorship. We find out now that it is. We find out now through Elon Musk's files that there's censorship going on. There are talking points from each side. Liberals say, big yawn, nothing there. Conservatives say, this changed the election. Fine, whichever side you're on. But as a leader in the world, don't we have an obligation? Don't we have, in the spirit of who we are, don't we have an obligation to say, hey, look, this is important. We're not going to allow this to happen here. And we're going to get into how TikTok is influencing and very, very dangerous for your kids, maybe you if you're on it, but nobody's going to get off TikTok because, frankly, it's fun. We're going to get into that. But we have a president. We have a president that literally, and I'm being literal here, garners absolutely no respect from anybody. We have a country that is here. We have a president that is here. Our country, I don't care what our test scores are with our kids. I don't care what you want to put out. Well, China does it. No. Everybody wants to be the United States. Everybody wants to infiltrate the United States. Everybody wants to be involved. Everybody wants to be the United States. They just do. And if you don't think so, then you're crazy. So when I hear people say, well, inflation is crazy all across the world, I say, well, this is the United States. All right, it's that simple. Well, it's a global, this is the United States. We're supposed to fight, and we're supposed to be better, and we're supposed to lead the way. That's how I look at it. Maybe I'm uber patriotic coming off of being at the Army-Navy game. I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. But I know one thing. I know that we don't have leadership that inspires anything but angst, and I'm tired of it. Look, you can say whatever you'd like about Trump, and I didn't vote for him. Kind of wish I had and probably will the next time. But you can say, well, Trump, a bad guy, corrupt guy. They're all corrupt. John F. Kennedy was corrupt. He was stooping Marilyn Monroe and every other young lady walking into the White House. He was literally wagging it around, pulling it behind him. What are you talking about? They're all corrupt. There's rumors about George Bush Sr. I don't know who wants to get underneath George Bush Sr., but there's rumors about him. Every president's corrupt. Cares? Bill Clinton, the most corrupt in terms of sex. And then lies. Aren't we supposed to lead? I think we're supposed to lead. I do. I think we're supposed to lead. Dylan and Ryan, when we got the video ready, let me know, because I got a montage of stupid from our guy, Joe Biden. A montage of just the dumbest stuff ever. Dan, you're such a puppet. Not unlike Lamb Chop, except it's not Carol Channing's head up your backside. Yeah, you're right. You are right. You're right. That's exactly who I am. I am a puppet. All I know is this. We're supposed to lead. All I know is this. We're supposed to be out front. All I know is this. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. There's a football game tonight. Hey, you Colts fans, I want you to think about this. There's a quarterback. His name is Purdy. P-U-R-D-Y. Not pretty, Purdy. He's going to quarterback the 49ers tonight. My Colts fans, he's going to quarterback the 49ers tonight, and guess what he's going to do? Probably win the game. Probably look like a quarterback that, I don't know, maybe can play in the NFL. Maybe. But, you know when they got him? Mr. Irrelevant. Brock Purdy, listen to this. Selected with the final pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, making him Mr. Irrelevant. He's starting quarterback. He looks like a quarterback. He's out of Iowa State. You can look at a quarterback sometimes and go, yeah, he doesn't have it. Yeah, he does. This kid looks like he might have it. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, but I'm also not saying that he's Curtis Painter. So this guy, let's just equate a smart general manager, John Lynch. So this guy's Mr. Irrelevant. Trey Lance gets hurt. Okay. Jimmy G gets hurt. This guy's quarterback. His family had bought tickets to watch the 49ers play Tom Brady weeks ago. Guess who was the quarterback against Tom Brady? Brock Purdy. Guess who's quarterbacking? Brock Purdy. Guess what the Colts have spent? My beloved Colts, guess what they have spent on quarterbacks since 2018? $148 million. I can go through them if you'd like. They gave Luck a $25 million send-off. They had a guy named Tolzien in there. Jacoby Brissett was in there. Phillip Rivers was in there. Carson Wentz was in there. And now this guy, Matt Ryan, is in there. How about that? $148 million. Now, you're going to say to me, well, anyone can win with the 49ers. The 49ers have a great defense. Probably right. So do the Colts. Colts have a great defense. Colts have a fantastic defense. But guess what? I don't know if it's quarterback. I don't know if it's receivers. But I do know this. $148 million is what the Colts spent on quarterbacks. You know what Brock Purdy cost them? The last pick of the draft. Mr. Irrelevant. So tonight, it's going to be the 49ers at the Seahawks. Look, I don't know what's going to happen in the game. Seems like when you go play the Seahawks, it's going to be tough. Don't know. Who knows? But I am interested in seeing Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, play against the 12th man. All right, yesterday, and I didn't tell Ryan or Dylan this, but yesterday we talked about Draymond Green. So we talked about Draymond Green and how Draymond Green is simply a mouth. Draymond Green is a mouth. Draymond Green is a mouth. Their team wears me out because I get tired of Steve Kerr. I love watching the Golden State Warriors. It's legitimately the only NFL team or NBA team that I can watch. I like watching them. However, yesterday, a perfect Warrior scenario. You ready for it? 38 out of their 80 points was scored by Steph Curry. But guess what? Steph Curry got hurt. Steph Curry injured his left shoulder. Steph Curry was literally, and I don't mean this figuratively, I mean literally carrying this team. No wonder he hurt his shoulder. And then guess what happened? Draymond Green went Draymond Green. And when they needed him the most, he got the boot. 1 point, 2 rebounds, 6 turnovers, got ejected, fourth quarter, and they needed him. Look, if you're going to be the Golden State Warriors, you got to get ready when Steph Curry's out. Klay Thompson was already out. All right, so I'm going to tell you this story. Lomas Brown. So Lomas Brown, I'm sitting there driving from the Army-Navy game. Lomas Brown should be in the Hall of Fame, will be in the Hall of Fame. But Lomas, I'm driving from the Army-Navy game. I really don't have a dog in the fight, the Vikings against the Lions. But I'm listening to you guys do the broadcast, and you're having so much damn fun that I couldn't stop listening. You guys are the most fun listen on radio. Was it Dan and TJ? It's unbelievable, Lomas. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, Dan. How are you, my good man? Good seeing you, man. I'm always talking to you, but it's always good to just see you, man.
Hey, we're the same age, and you're far more handsome. I look like 10 miles of bad road, and you look freaking awesome. Hey, I gotta ask you, when the big guy went up and made the catch, was a Pennell? I had his name here. When he went up and made the catch, yes, Penei Sewell. When he went up and made the catch, it was a damn party in the booth. It shocked you, didn't it?
Man, it was so awesome. And, of course, me being a big fella and never getting a pass called for me and just seeing how innovative all these coordinators are now, how they use the big man now, not just only the block. This has been in the making because a couple of games before they had him split out wide in the same thing out in the slot position this time. They had him lying in the slot position. He was out there blocking. But again, you see how they brought him in motion and he caught the pass. And you're right, man. As a former big fella, man, I almost jumped off the 7th floor, man. I was so ecstatic to see him get that. And the form, Dan, the form that he used, grabbing it, brought it in, dove. I mean, everything was perfect about it. And it was a third down play that helped us win that game.
Well, I want to go to that because you express your undying love for the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. You're like, I love this man.
I'm telling you, man.
That was
for all the big fellas throughout the United States, all the guys that's played this game. You know, again, it's the love that Ben shows. And I'm telling you, Dan, the guy, he's going to be a guy that you hear about years to come that's going to have a coaching tree because the guy it's just so innovative. His plays are how he puts guys in position to have success. You know, how he has this offense clicking right now, and it's been clicking all year long. And think about it. Everybody thought Jared Goff was just going to be the stop guy, just a stopgap guy, a guy that just came over in the Matthew Stafford trade, a high-priced guy that came over in Stafford trade. But I'm telling you, that guy, he's pretty much the MVP of the team because he's kept this team, even when things were going bad, he's kept them at a calm rate.
Yeah, I want to talk about Goff and Ben Johnson because, a lot of times we just discard a quarterback. But history has said sometimes, like Jim Plunkett going back, in the day, Warren Moon went to different teams. It's sometimes just getting the right team with the right system, with the right offensive coordinator makes all the difference in the world. Is that what we're seeing with Goff?
Absolutely. And you're seeing these guys grow together because remember, Ben Johnson kind of took over from when Anthony Lynn was here. When they let Anthony Lynn go, he kind of took over. So he's kind of been just kind of groomed into that spot. And they basically have been here the same amount of time. I'm talking about Ben Johnson and Jared Goff. So they've been growing together, and you could see it. You could see the chemistry going. You could just see it coming. Our biggest thing, I'm telling you, is staying healthy. That's one of the biggest things is just getting all our guys back because we haven't played well. Maybe this last game was probably our closest game to playing with everybody, but still we're waiting on everybody to get healthy. And then when you got everybody healthy, man, it's just the chemistry will keep growing, just things will keep happening. And hopefully you can just see this team just keep building and building and winning and winning.
What's been the biggest difference, let's say, from the start of the season until right now? Has there been any difference? And what's Dan Campbell, what's his influence thus far?
Man, he's awesome, man. And man, that's my guy, man. We played together 2 years with the Giants. He was my tight end next to me. So I love the man. So I'm always impartial when I talk about them and talk about him. But again, did you ever hear him panic throughout the season? Even when they were losing, you never heard him panic. You always heard Dan say, we're going to go back. We're going to keep doing what we have to do. But the thing about it is eliminating the mistakes, especially the self-inflicted wounds. And that's what was killing us early in the season. It was the penalties. It was the turnovers. It was the mental errors. Not being where you need to be at in certain situations. So it was a combination of that. And, that happens, Dan, when you got a young team. We're still one of the youngest teams. We're playing so many rookies, so many first and second year guys that we're playing right now that are getting significant time. So, whenever you're playing young guys, you're going to kind of have those ups and downs, with a young player. But again, this valuable experience that these guys are gaining right now, which is going to help them throughout their career.
Hey, Lomas, Aiden Hutchinson has not disappointed, has he?
No, man. No, I'm telling you, man. And what I said about the kid first was, man, I loved his motor. I said that his motor would help him while he goes through a rookie season. But I'm telling you, man, this guy, man, you can just see him growing. You see him growing week in and week out because, again, I said early in the season, Aiden is going to have to develop a second move because once he gets stopped on his first move by most linemen, he really didn't have a second move. You can see him slowly starting to develop a second move. So when that first move doesn't work for him, then you'll see him go into something else. And that's been having success for them. They also been doing a lot of line stunts. That's been helping them out too. And they also have him in this wide nine technique, which he's getting away from those big guys and able to use his speed and athleticism out there on the corner. So the Lions, Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator, he's doing a lot of things to help Aiden Hutchinson out, but he's the real deal.
Yeah, when you watch the Lions, I remember talking to you when the Colts and the Lions were at camp, and I remember people saying how good the Colts were, and I said, okay, well, in what I watched, two things. One, I fell in love with DeAndre Swift. I thought this dude is special, and the second is, hey, look, however good the Colts are, the Lions are every bit as good, if not better. I remember saying that on the air, like, hey, this is a really good team.
Yeah, they went there and proved it too, because you're right. We talked during that week of camp, and they certainly went there. Dan Campbell, every day his press conference was, how they got better. The first day, they didn't have a good day against the Colts, but the second and third days that they were there before they faced them in the game, they pretty much dominated those days. And you see where the teams are right now. So, again, you're right. The Lions were just as good. Actually, the Lions were better than the Colts back then and still are right now. Again, to me, the biggest difference, and if you could see it, to me, I think, is Jared Goff, the quarterback that you have back there. You know, again, when you compare him with what the Colts are dealing with right now with Matt Ryan and his advanced stage. But again, for us, he's been great. And like you say with DeAndre Swift, it's just been health. That's been the only thing with him, Dan. Just his biggest ability, what you know, is his availability. And that's just been the biggest thing with DeAndre. Because, man, when he gets out on the field, and you know I don't say this lightly, you know I don't, I can see traits of number 20, Barry Sanders. He got little things that Barry used to do. And you know I don't say that lightly, you know. But, again, he has to stay healthy.
Yeah, before I let you go, now here's the interesting thing, and you've dealt with it. Okay, they started the season, they were out of the playoff chase, now they're playing well. How, in the NFL, you've been around it your whole life, don't you, and I coach forever, you got to keep focusing on the process of your team getting better, not worrying about what's over here with playoffs, right? That's huge.
Absolutely. That's the only thing you can control. You can't control the playoff picture. You can't control whether other teams are going to win or lose and help you get in position. We know the Lions need a lot of help, but the one thing they need to do is win out. You got to win out, you know, so that you got to take it game by game, and you got to try to win each and every one of these remaining games that are left. That's the only thing that you as an individual player, you as a coaching staff, you as an organization, that's the only thing you can control is what's next. And it's the New York Jets. We traveling there Saturday. And, you know, and I've been watching them on tape, man. They got a good team. They kind of almost mirror the Lions in terms of, you know, they're going to play you all day long. They're going to play you tough. They're playing a lot of rookies. They got a lot of impact young players that are making plays for them, too. So and we're going there. So it's going to be a road game. So, you know, the Lions, again, destiny is in their hands. They just got to keep doing what they're doing, which is winning games right now.
Hey, last thing before I let you go. You mentioned Barry Sanders. You were his teammate for a long, long time. What was it like with him on a daily basis? You know, he needed you. You needed him. But what was it like?
Man, the little fella, man, he was something else. Look, I always tell people, look, Dan, right before you getting ready to go out on the field, man, after the coach give you your hurrah speech, you know, everybody's fired up. The locker room's fired up. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, we're going to kick some butt. Yeah. Man, we used to have to walk by Barry's locker room on the way out to the field. Hey, B, wake up, man. It's time to go. He would be asleep. And you believe it was just unbelievable, man. I mean, you fired up. I'm taking smelling sauce. I'm about to jump through the roof and everything. We about to march through the doors, and our superstars laying down there by the locker room sleeping. We got to wake him up. Hey, man, it's time to go to war. So it was awesome, Dan. An awesome guy. I'm gonna see him next week. We're gonna get together. So, man, just love the little fella, man, and everything. Hey, and you see he's coming out of his shell more and more. Every time you turn around on TV, you see him doing commercials now.
I was gonna ask you about that because I can't watch anything without him playing pickleball or doing something. My sense of Barry Sanders was he was a reserved guy that never really spoke. Was that wrong?
No, I'm telling you, he's coming out of his shell. Now, look, in the locker room, he thought he was a stand-up comedian. So he would crack jokes on you. And he had jokes for days in the locker room around us. But, man, I'm telling you, man, I remember, man, this drugstore came to Barry back in the late 80s. came to him and wanted him to do a commercial for them. And they told Barry, man, we'll pay you $250,000 to do this commercial with just a 3-minute commercial. Barry's like, no. They came back to him like a week later and said, look, Barry, no talking parts. We'll take all the talking parts out of the commercial if you would do it. No. I mean, they were trying, and that's just how he was, Dan, to say how he was then is still how he is now. The dude just never wanted accolades. He never wanted, even when we tried to get him to get the rushing title in his rookie year, which he could have took, he only needed 9 yards to get it. And we had a whole quarter. He would have won it over Christian Okoye. Man, we couldn't get Barry to go back in the game. Come on, B, let's go get it, man. The rushing title, you only need 9 yards. He wouldn't do it. That's how. So that's just the same man. But I don't know what this has morphed into now, man. Do we think we might have an Academy Award coming soon?
How soon did you know he was great?
First day. First day.
Yeah.
It was no doubt, man. Because, again, I got the benefits of watching him and being with him in practice. So I seen things that a lot of people didn't see. It would be so special, some of the things. I always tell people, Dan, what you see on YouTube, what you could pull up a Barry, those are great things. But I've seen things, you know how they say in the commercial, I've seen things. I've seen things that people, because I'm there every Monday after the game and we watching game film. And I promise you, me and Kevin Glover used to sit there every Monday. It used to be at least 5 plays. You would be like, oh my goodness, how did he do that? What in the world? How did he make his body do that? And then it may not be a 20, 30-yard run. It may be a 2-yard run. It may be a 3-yard loss. And it's going to be the best 3-yard loss, 2-yard gain you've ever seen in your life, man. I promise you, man. So he was just awesome, man. And like I say, it was just so many things that I knew right off the bat. He was great, man. He was great.
I'm telling you, Dan Miller, TJ Lang, and Lomas Brown is the most fun broadcast. It sounded like a damn college house party when Sewell went up and got it. Everybody's yelling. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for taking the time, Lomas.
Hey, Dan, anything for you, my man.
That is awesome. That is so great. Lomas Brown, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, I was just driving. My wife and I had a 9-hour drive, and I didn't know that Detroit, we just put it on, and there's our guy Lomas, and we just, honest to God, we couldn't stop laughing. All right, we come back. I got some video of our great president that you're going to want to see. It's just ridiculous. Also, I got some headlines from last night. Mike Leach, Mississippi State, has named a coach. France over Morocco. Morocco was good. We'll be right back. Keep it right here. Hey, look, YouTube folks, retweet it out. We need more people watching. This needs to become the preeminent show in the world. Let's go.
Isn't it crazy to have a coach like Mike Leach who was not afraid to say what was on his mind? It doesn't matter if it was post game. It doesn't matter if it's a midweek conversation. It doesn't. I went back and watched something last night, Jake, and he was talking about student debt and how he would rather spend a month in jail than have to pay off his student debt, and how it hurts society and it hurts the kids and they can't get out of it and whatnot. But he was not the one to ever hold back on anything. And you couldn't, I don't think the ADs at Tech, at State, at Mississippi State, and I was referring to Washington State, I don't think they wanted to hold him back. He was his own type of man, and I think that's what made him special, brother.
Yeah, no, and that he's an old school football coach at heart too. If you kind of see the way he goes about things, so it's such a unique blend. You could go across the globe, and I don't think find another person that's super similar to Mike Leach and his personality. But yeah, I mean, let me ask you this: if I drove across the country when Joe Moorhead was the head coach at Mississippi State and asked high school football recruits, "Tell me the head coach at Mississippi State," a lot of them are not going to know that it's Joe Moorhead. But those same kids that wouldn't know, if I would have driven through during his tenure, would have known that Mike Leach was at Mississippi State. He was in the new world of branding and NIL. Mike Leach was his own brand. I mean, Trey, I got the very fortunate privilege of being able to interview him 4 times within a 2-year span. Yep. And every time, the interview was always special to me, but the audience always enjoyed it because, yeah, we'd talk football. I'd talk about Will Rogers or what they had going on in the air raid. And, does he get tempted to run the ball more than he typically does, and schematical and structural things like that. But I mean, we talk about Pirates. He told Cone how to train his toddler son with a laser pointer to get him to do drills. It's just with Mike Leach, it was always genuine and it was always authentic.
I'm ready whenever you are. Oh, we're back. We're ready to go. I didn't hear anybody in my ear. Hey, how are you, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to get to some of our headlines of the day, and then I got to tell you, our girl Kahale got kicked off of, or her video got kicked off of TikTok, and we ain't happy about it. All right, our president spoke. Let's hear from our president here, Ryan and Dylan.
The president used his radio address yesterday and tomorrow in the Rose Garden to talk about a constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage.
Think about this. The world's going to Hades in a handbasket. We are desperately concerned about the circumstance relating to avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough police officers. And we're going to debate the next 3 weeks, I'm told, gay marriage, a flag amendment, and God only knows what else. I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman. What's the game going on here?
Man, how times change. What do I tell you about politicians? They go where the wind blows. Now, actually, that is a Biden, not necessarily what he's saying there. I don't care if you have gay marriage or not. It doesn't matter to me even one bit. And don't tell me because I don't care that I'm somehow dangerous. But that's a Biden, even though he's got the plugs going, that I could get with. Same-sex marriage, I believe they're coming after our churches. But hey, probably not in my lifetime. That's a Biden that I can get with. Now we've got the Respect for Marriage Act under his watch. Now, you and I both know the Respect for Marriage Act is simply a way to pander. That's all it is. It doesn't do, what is this, 1940? There's an interracial marriage piece in there. Nobody cares whether an African-American dates or marries a white person. Who cares? Nobody cares. I mean, this isn't 1953 for crying out loud. I mean, we can make it that if you'd like, but what are we talking about here? What are we really talking about here? We're talking about pandering. This isn't what this guy believes, although I would argue that this guy does not know what he believes. I would argue that he's so whacked out and so far out there, he's got people telling him, look, we got to stay in power. This is a group that supports us, the LGBTQ whatever community. They support us. I personally don't care who you have sex with. It don't matter to me. Not even a little bit. Never has, never will. Don't care. You want to get married? Get married. Don't care. I mean, look, I don't try to put my beliefs out on anybody else. My beliefs are mine. But I do think this is a first step in coming after churches. I do. I think so. I do. But this isn't, there's an element in this new thing about, well, we protect interracial marriage. From what? Me? White guys? What are you talking about? The nonsense that we get here is just unfreaking believable. All right, what else do we got?
And a special thanks to our performers, Joy, Sam, and Cindy. Look, you know, and the Gay Men's Choir of Washington, D.C.
Huh?
Gay Men's Marriage Choir.
Gay Men's Marriage Choir. Gay Men's Marriage Choir. Gay Men's Marriage is a choir. This is our president, and I said this to start. I said this right from jump. We should be better than this. Look, we should be better than this. We're not, apparently, but we should be. We should 1,000% be better than to have a bumbling, stumbling moron out here in front of us, speaking for us, representing us. Can you imagine what happens behind the scenes with this guy? Seriously, I just want, even if you're a liberal, I want you to just imagine what happens behind the scenes with this guy. The amount of work it takes to get him propped up, to get him not looking like a disheveled 97-year-old man. I mean, it is the amount of work that it takes. I saw the amount of work it takes to get people on TV. Sitting there at ESPN, they're like, hey, well, you need to go to makeup. I don't want makeup. You go in there and dudes are getting all this, women are, I mean, just to get on TV for some 10-second spot, I saw what it took. Can you imagine what it takes to get this guy on TV? Can you seriously? I want you to think about that. And then he gets up there and he can't read the Gay Men's Choir Marriage. What are we doing, America? Where are we at here, people? Aren't we better than this? As long as I'm doing this show, there are a couple things that I will fight for. One, America, you're better than what we're getting. Two, let's stop exploiting children. Three, let's stop demonizing women, marginalizing women. Those are three things that I see. I could never have said this at ESPN. Can you imagine how hard it is to get this clown? Can you imagine? To get this guy ready to go on a daily basis. Here's another one.
The decline in gas prices is giving consumers a break. They need helping them keep our economy going. When you have a two-car family, they're saving hundreds of dollars a month. It's a big deal.
Gas prices are over $1.50 more than when he started as president. They're over $1.50 more. Now, look, it's the same thing I tell you every day. It's the same thing. It is, hey, look, you know what? I have hair. Now, I don't care what you say. I have hair. No, it doesn't matter what you say. I have hair. No, look at me. There's hair here. There's hair here. I don't care. You know what? I am going to take credit for gas prices. When gas prices went up, what's her name? Jean Perini, whatever the hell her name is. She's telling us the president has no impact on gas prices. Will somebody explain it to me? All I ever hear when I talk about gas prices on Twitter, people went from being epidemiologists to now they're economists, gas price influencers telling me the president has nothing to do with gas prices. Well, I don't know. Does he or doesn't he? Does he or doesn't he? I've told you this before, and this is where I know we're not ever going to be, the show that everybody gets their political views from, but you should. You should. Because what I tell you matters. People tell me, well, you're wrong, Dan, because I say I don't want to hear the word inflation. We've got record inflation. Interest rates, record gas prices. Gas prices in January of 2021, $2.39. They're over $3.25 now, on average. That's what they are. So he's patting himself on the back for lowering gas prices. I'm just telling you. Stay close, tell your friends about our show, and we'll get the country straightened out. Because we see through crap. Give me another one, will you, please?
Cisco Systems and Cyber Bastion, a diaspora-owned small business.
Feel blame? Are you mad? Do you feel like Wolf's Bob Friends? Get friends,
I don't know what to tell you, but that's pretty good, Dylan and Ryan. You guys should do that more. We should do that every day. We should have let's compare our president to a known crazy person. Like, he wants to give more money to Africa. I told you this yesterday. I don't care. The truth of the matter is, I don't want to pay taxes. I'm going to pay taxes. I'll probably get audited, but I got to tell you, I don't want to pay taxes. Money's going everywhere. Money's going to Buttigieg. Money's going to the Ukraine. Money's going to Africa. Money's going blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, my money's going to gas prices. My money's going to inflation. My 401k is going down. I had a guy write an article on me yesterday saying, well, you know what? Guys like Dakich and running quarterbacks don't last. I was 14 years. I'd like to retire at some point. At some point, I'd like to have a 401k. Like at 70, I'd like to retire. But I'd like to have a 401k that isn't in the toilet. Is that too much to ask? Well, all of our money's going to the Ukraine. Open checkbook. I don't get it, people. Did you know that according to Jim Banks, did you know this? According to Jim Banks, $13 billion a year is what human smugglers are making on the border. Let's hear from our president about the border. Oh, we didn't have the border one? Where he said that hey, there's more important things than the border. Maybe I didn't send it. But our guy says, well, there's more important things than going to the border. $13 billion industry, according to our friend Representative Jim Banks. $13 billion. It's a cash cow for cartels. Now, people say, well, you know what the first statement is? Well, prove it. Okay. Yeah, okay. Marsha Blackburn says, Senator Marsha Blackburn, for 2 years the American people have told Biden that the southern border is a concern, and for 2 years he's ignored them. I have friends that live in Albuquerque. They say people are running around all over the place. Why are we trying to stop securing our own border? There's more important things going on, Biden said, than the border. It's a $13 billion industry. Here's my question. Between his corrupt son and himself, let me ask you this. Don't you think this? A $13 billion industry on his watch, doesn't it at least enter your mind? I wonder what cut of that the Bidens are getting. I wonder what cut of that the big guy is getting. Now, you can say all you want, but you know you're thinking that. You know that the Bidens have, I would assume that the Bidens have been involved in stuff every bit as bad as this. I'm not sure we can get into worse than human smuggling, which means a lot of people are dying, but would it put it past you for the Bidens to be involved in that? The answer, of course, is no. Zach Arnett has been named the new head coach at Mississippi State following the death of Mike Leach. Look, here's the deal. I like and applaud what Mississippi State is doing. Mike Leach passed away, and I'm not going to lie to you. Whenever I see somebody like Coach Leach or some young person pass away, some former NFL player, I start thinking, wait a second. The media told us we all had to get vaccinated. The media told us and shamed us. Hell, in Indianapolis, a columnist named Greg Doyle decided that it was imperative that our quarterback and everybody get vaccinated or we shame them, we will run them out of town. Doyle knew less about the vaccine than I did or anybody did, yet that was his stance. These people should be held accountable. I don't know that anybody really knew. I don't know. I got vaccinated, but whenever I see this now, I immediately think, well, was it from the vaccine? There are studies on both sides. There are studies, but I digress. One of the things that I really, really want to see happen with Mississippi State is them go win a bowl game. But I'm not going to lie to you. I wonder, did Mike Leach getting vaxxed, I don't think he wanted to, did that contribute? We'll never know. It'll never be reported. That goes against the narrative of a bunch of idiots in the media, which everything that they don't like, that isn't true, goes against the narrative of everything in the media. But I wonder, I'm sorry, I just wonder. But I'm glad Mississippi State has moved on and they've done it in-house. All right, France defeats Morocco yesterday. The World Cup final is set. It's France against Argentina, and it's coming up Sunday night. I got to tell you, I'm going to watch every minute of it. I am. I watched Morocco yesterday, and I was rooting for Morocco for two reasons. One, I've been to Morocco. I kind of liked it. I was never at France. And two, actually, I wanted them to score a goal. I had bet that they were going to score a goal. And how close did they come? You could make the argument that Morocco was actually better than France. You could make that argument. Now, France won the game. I'm going to say Argentina is going to win because it feels like poetic justice. It feels like Messi gets this big old monkey off of his back. He gets this burden, boom, off of his back. He gets it out there. He doesn't worry about it, and away you go. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know. I watch Mbappe and I watch Messi. You know what they do? And the announcer even said it. They stand around 70, 80% of the time. It's what they do. And then they go make a play, and in Messi's case, helped account for all three goals, one on a penalty kick and two assists. Mbappe, kind of the same thing. They don't do squat but stand around, and then when it comes time, they go. Be a great way to play. But anyway, I got Argentina. I'm going to take Argentina. I think it's just, Messi's like 107 years old. Mbappe's only 24. I think it's going to be fun. I do. I think it's going to be a fun final. I'm looking forward to it. And away we go. Last thing back on Mike Leach. It is amazing how different people get perceived. Like Mike Leach's matter-of-fact commentary made him a guy that even the president, former president of the United States, commented on. I don't think Biden knows where he is to comment on it. But it is fascinating to me, isn't it? It's fascinating to me that Mike Leach has so many people that love him from such a broad area. All right, our girl Haley, Outkick producer, extraordinaire, uber talented, is like a TikTok phenomenon. So she comes out and does a TikTok. She comes out and does a TikTok that basically discusses the fact that pickleball has said no to transgender women. They've said no. No, we ain't doing it. Sorry, we ain't doing it. It ain't happening. You know what? It's pretty good. I'm sorry, professional disc golf. I screwed that up. So TikTok banned her video where she basically said, good for the Professional Disc Golf Association to level the new rules between trans and biological women. They didn't ban all trans women, just those that have higher testosterone levels, 2.0, nanomoles, and those who transitioned after 12. But it's a start, I agree. So let's play Haley's video.
Disc golf just became the most alpha sport ever because they've effectively banned transgender athletes from competing against biological women. What a concept. All of this happened after transgender athlete Natalie Ryan started kicking some biological female butt and ended up ranked 5th in the world. When the best females in the world are actually males, that's when you know that the feminist movement has officially failed. So, the Professional Disc Golf Association put out some new guidelines that would ban transgender athletes from competing against biological women unless they transition before the age of 12 and their testosterone levels sit below 2 nanomoles. To put it into perspective, the average female's testosterone levels sit somewhere between 0.5 and 2.4 nanomoles. Does anyone else remember back in 2013 when this trans MMA fighter Fallon Fox tried to cancel Joe Rogan for dropping this truth bomb? The operation doesn't shave down bone density. It doesn't change. You look at a man's hands, you look at a woman's hands, they're built different. They're just thicker, they're stronger, your wrists are thicker, your elbows are thicker, your joints are thicker. Just the mechanical function of punching, a man can do it much harder than a woman can, period. It's not transphobic to want to level the playing field. You wouldn't put these two in a ring together. So what's it going to take for other sports and leagues to do the same thing? I'm looking at you, NCAA.
There you go. And that got banned. So they said, no, we're not going to let you do that. Is Haley ready? They said, no. There she is. All right. That was a great video. That was an honest video. I think that was an important, I think it's an important video. What happened here?
So I kind of went back in the video. Well, actually, the second I posted it, one of our social media producers, he texted me and he said, hey, the video just got taken down. I mean, when I tell you it was minutes, Dan, minutes since the video was up, immediately taken down. They said it was promoting hateful ideology, so I went against their community guidelines. And I went back into the video to try to see what I said that was wrong. And the only thing I can really think of is when I said that the best women in the world are actually men. So the Babylon Bee made a similar joke. They were talking about Rachel Levine, that Biden administration, she's a Biden cabinet member. And they made a similar joke like that. They got ripped off of Twitter. This was obviously Twitter 1.0 before Elon took over. But I think that might have been the joke that did us in. But honestly, the rest of the video, like, I'm spitting facts. I'm talking about nanomoles. I wasn't making anything up. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, you know, men are men, women are women. And when you compete against each other, there are factual biological differences between men and women. Those differences are beautiful. We celebrate those. But that's just the reality.
China is here to stay. China, this comes from not only you, but this comes from my brother is a whatever. He's involved in these kind of things. He's like, look, get all your kids, get everybody off of TikTok. We're seeing now, aren't we? We're seeing states that are saying, wait a second, we're going to ban TikTok. Government, you can't use it, right?
Yeah, so Senator Marco Rubio, a lot of Republicans, they've been talking about this for a while, trying to ban TikTok. I don't disagree, because I think there definitely is a national security threat. I think children should not be on TikTok. I think if they are on TikTok, parents really need to be monitoring that. But Outkick is a media organization. It would be stupid for us to not be on it. You get so many eyeballs. We want to get our viewpoints out there. I mean, we're lucky that we work at Outkick where we can say what we want to say and we're not censored. But if we want to share those views on social media, then we're beholden to these big tech platforms, and then we get banned and taken off and taken down. So it really is an issue. And I'm not denying that TikTok is a problem and it's a national security threat. But like I said, and like you said, China is here to stay. They've been here and they're buying up our farmland. They are infiltrating our schools. If they're spying on us, they're spying on us whether I'm on TikTok or not. So I'm not saying that TikTok's not a problem, but I'm hearing a lot of talking and not a lot of action from Republican lawmakers. All they do is complain about big tech on big tech. They take to Twitter and complain about Twitter. They take to Meta and Facebook and Instagram, and they complain about censorship on those platforms. And they talk a big game saying, yeah, we're going to break up big tech. And they bring Mark Zuckerberg on Capitol Hill and they grill him for hours. And, you know, what gets done? They say that they're going to rewrite Section 230 and they're going to make this a more fair, you know, platform where people aren't going to be censored. But we haven't really seen that. So I'm not holding my breath.
No, I don't think you should. And to your point, people will say, well, you're on TikTok. I'm okay, fine. But, you know, we're also trying to draw eyes to what we're doing. We're also trying, you know, you guys made one on the Mel Tucker fight way back that I talked about. That got taken down off of TikTok for violence, and it got taken down pretty quick. But yours is more interesting because you're going against an ideology that is science, well, period.
It's science, but then listen to this. So last night, this is after the TikTok gets taken down, I'm scrolling through my For You page. I see a transgender woman come up on my For You page. She's talking about the exact same thing that I said. Nothing different. She was making the exact same point. She said, hey, I'm a trans woman. I was born a biological male. I have absolute physical differences. I am stronger than my female friends, my biological female friends. I don't think that they should be competing against each other in sports. So that video goes up. So the algorithm is on her side, but not on my side. So what is it? I feel like in 2022, we have these issues where, you know, biological women are lower on the totem pole than trans women when it comes to, you know, a minority. We're not what the left cares about anymore. I'm just wondering where all the feminists have gone.
I'm wondering this too. Where's the Me Too movement? Where are feminists? I have three things that I said I was always going to talk about on this show. And one of them is, why are we marginalizing biological women? Why is there an attack on kids? But why are we doing this to women? Why? Tell me.
Dan, it's a great question. I don't know why women, feminists, activists who claim that they care so much about women are not speaking out about this issue. And I think it boils down to this. They're afraid of being labeled as transphobic. And I'm here to say this. It's not transphobic to say that women and men should not compete against each other, or biological men who have transitioned to a woman should not compete against other biological women. It's just facts. I'm at a loss for words because it doesn't make sense. And I just feel like people are afraid to speak out. But if women don't speak out about this issue, we will literally see the erasure of women's sports right before our eyes.
Why is, it makes me crazy. Here's the thing. I've said this, and I think you'll agree with this. White media is so afraid to be labeled a racist. That's why every person in the white media can't wait to pander. I mean, the pandering is ridiculous. And everybody, and I mean this, women, everybody, are so afraid to be labeled transphobic. It's not transphobic. It's just not marginalizing somebody who I don't think look. I have a daughter, I have a mother, I have wife, I have ex-wife. Hell, I got it all, right? But the truth of the matter is, they're all saying the same thing. Why are we being marginalized? And I say the same thing back. Then let's stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up, Me Too. Stand up, feminists.
And I'm not transphobic. I actually think that there should be a place for trans athletes in sports. I mean, they're people too, and sports is something that brings all people together, but we have to do it in a fair way. You can't have biological women competing against trans women who transitioned later in life, and they grew up with, bigger muscle mass and all these things that I talked about in the video that Joe Rogan brought up. I mean, there are undeniable differences, biological differences between men and women. It's just facts.
It's fact. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for everything you do, Haley. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
She's awesome. No, she's awesome. We're going to continue the conversation, but we got two mad people. My freaking stepdaughter is third baseman, Harvard softball. My wife, legendary player, Softball Hall of Fame, legendary coach, winningest coach at two different places, including Syracuse. I hate when jackasses in the media come at women for being involved in sports. There's a guy named Reynolds. We're going to crush him when we come back. Crush him. Crush his soul.
Yeah, I think because things, transitioned from that regime side to that fundamentalist side. So we also had to change some of our tactics and our procedures and everything else and how we did things to cope with these guys, because they were coming up with some ingenious ways of doing things along the line as well, with some of the IEDs, some of the, the booby trapping the houses, things like that, using the cell phones to call to detonate everything. So it became, I think, as much as you say, more violent in that way, because with the regime guys too, we knew that there was the end state was trying to get Saddam, so that we needed intel as well. We needed to gather that intelligence. There was only so much that was there from previous, just historical data. Then we had to actually make it real intel and workable intel. But with the fundamentalists, if you gave them a chance to vote, and we'd say vote based off, okay, does this guy want to is he going to go along with the capture, or is he wanting to fight? And then let's see who wins. They would rather fight than do anything. There was, so many times guys would detonate suicide vests because it's like, well, they're not going to take me, clack themselves off, thinking they're killing, other folks around them. But, they just, I don't know, they just were different folks. And it was like we had to get more violent in a way, because again, we were going after intel and doing things, and our procedures and everything on the battlefield just had to kind of adjust, just like they were doing.
That's crazy. I truly cannot imagine. And I was in college I started college in 2010. So I was in high school when things were getting kind of real bad in the 06, 07 era. And I remember people would always talk about like, do we really need to be fighting these guys? Are they really that bad? And I'm like, this Zarqawi guy is literally chopping people's heads off, right? And don't think it stops there. Like if this guy could, he'd chop all of our heads off too. Fortunately, they dropped a couple bombs on him, I believe, if I recall correctly. So now I want to get into some comparing and contrasting.
There is no better guest in the history of the world to talk whether it is politics, whether it is chauvinistic jackass male writers, or, of course, whether it is the NFL and the Buffalo Bills and Aaron Perini. Let's get right into it. You know this clown. His name is Jerry Sullivan. I'm going to read the quote here. Women, be better than this because the worst fans are really the woman. They don't get critical journalism. They're all wannabe cheerleaders. You know what I mean? It's a dangerous avenue to go down to criticize women in general because they're better than men, because they're better than men generally. But as a fan, they don't get it as fans. He can kiss my ass. What's your take?
I can tell you this much. Jerry Sullivan's been wrong about a lot of things, but this absolutely takes the cake. One, I am a female sports fan, and I am a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, and I believe that there should be critical journalism of the team. Let's talk about the fact that we ignored the wide receiver position's depth the entirety of the season, and now we're bringing Cole Beasley back. Sure, let's have that conversation because I am an avid fan of this team. But Jerry here is wrong on both fronts, and that's what makes me mad. One, he discounts anybody who's like me, who is a woman, from being a sports fan just based on our gender. So that alone, when you are trying to win an argument, you've lost if the best you can do is try and talk somebody down based on their gender. And two, critical journalism. If Jerry wants to talk critical journalism to a female sports fan, come and have a conversation with me. I have battled some of the biggest political reporters in the country, that I have worked stories that have been on the cover of every major publication in this country. I understand critical journalism probably better than a lot of people do because I work in the communications industry. But what does that mean for Jerry? It means he's not being a critical journalist, and I'm somebody who can call him on that. He's just trying to go after women for being female sports fans because we pushed back on you. And this is what it all stems from. Jerry was at a press conference with Josh Allen after our victory over the New York Jets. And instead of asking Josh a question about the offense, he declared his opinion, saying that this is not a Super Bowl caliber offense. Okay, Jerry, if you're going to give your opinion, Josh doesn't have to answer it. And Josh handled it appropriately. That's why Jerry was getting backlash from female Bills fans, from all Bills fans, because we didn't ask for his opinion on the offense. We just ask your question and write your story. So Jerry it's really sad to see this guy have fallen the way he has, from being the columnist at the Buffalo News to really ending his career in basement, but coming after female sports fans because we don't understand critical journalism shows a really closed-minded individual. And he can tweet all he wants about being supportive of women. When the truth came out and he got pushed by female sports fans, he collapsed and showed his true colors.
Well, to your point, the bio on this guy is independent journalist, liberal Democrat, woman sports advocate. That's like me saying, well, I got hair. No, I got a full head of hair here. No, really, no, see, it drives me nuts that, and it's you see it in the political realm as well. You just say things like, hey, look, we're bringing gas prices down. Well, they're now, they're higher than when you started. It just drives me nuts that people can just say things and others are just supposed to believe it because you say it.
I mean, that's completely true. I mean, this is something that you see a lot from the left wing. And now in Jerry's bio, he talks about the fact that he's very liberal, is they want to try and change the definition of words when things don't work for them. So Jerry just went out there and he thinks that he can go ahead and throw a blanket statement out about women and then in the same breath talk about supporting them. But when he was pushed by female sports fans, he belittled them. He belittled me. And I am a diehard critical Buffalo Bills fan. Do I think we can win the Super Bowl? Absolutely. Am I worried every day about our ability to do it because we seemingly can't catch a ball? If it's our wide receivers, if it's our running backs, or if it's our tight end, that worries me. Let's talk about that and let's ask, go ahead, ask Ken Dorsey about it, right? Why don't you talk to Leslie Frazier about what's going on the defense? But then to belittle us because we push back on you as a columnist for trying to give your opinion instead of being an actual critical journalist, that's ridiculous.
Let me get into the Buffalo Bills for just a second. I'm bitter. I'm not going to lie. I'm bitter. We had Andrew Luck, so we weren't going to take Josh Allen, but we took a guard when we could have taken Josh Allen. I'm bitter every time I see him run people over. Is this team still, in your opinion, a team that is, I'm not going to say a favorite for the Super Bowl, but among the favorites?
I do. I think that the Buffalo Bills really do have a total team, right? Von Miller is out right now, and the defense did not miss a beat last week. Gregory Rousseau was playing lights out. AJ Epinesa, Boogie Basham, Ed Oliver, Jordan Phillips. When we talk about what we're able to do on defense, even without, the big expensive stud, it is making a big difference. I mean, Matt Milano, that hit last week. Oh my gosh. I adore Matt Milano. Jordan Poyer, having him out there. What a difference maker on defense. On the offensive side of the ball, we're struggling. We need to be able to get more points on the board. Josh Allen admits to himself, but then you see it in the moments where they really need it. Allen will say, Diggs, go. And Stephon rips open and catches the ball. I mean, I do worry about our offensive line. Our interior is pretty good, but the exterior of it really puts Josh in a bad position a lot of the time. If we can really shore that up, this is a team that can win tough games. And that narrative got put aside because a lot in the sports media were saying, oh, the Buffalo Bills, they can't win tough games. We've won a lot of them. And if we win on Saturday, we will secure another playoff berth. And having lived through the 17-season drought, every time we get one, I get that much more happy.
All right. I don't want to offend Jerry Reynolds or Jones or whatever the hell this guy's name is, okay? Did you know this? This was just sent to me by a friend of mine. A female, a noted porn star female, but Jenna Jameson, when asked way back who the Buffalo Bills should draft, you know who she said? Josh Allen. There you go. Josh Allen. See?
Josh Allen's the best. I still think that Josh Allen, when he is stronger, when he's feeling better, when that elbow's not as much of an issue, that pass to Gabe Davis 2 games ago, where it almost looked like Josh was out of bounds and Gabe wasn't even open. Only Josh Allen can do that, and it's unbelievable to actually have that quarterback in Buffalo.
I want to ask a question, and it's not really relative to this, and I'm curious your thought on this. We just had our producer Haley come on, and she had done a video, actually somewhat scientific, where she basically described, you know what, I'm not against transgender men, women, all that kind of stuff, but there are physical differences in sports. It got taken down by TikTok. She asked the question, where is the Me Too movement? Where are feminists as we watch women's sports come under attack? What is your thought on that? I know we didn't talk about this, but you're the perfect person to ask.
But yeah, whether it's women in sports or women supporting sports, women being sports fans, where are all of the people who had such breathless outrage about supporting women and about giving them more opportunity in life and more and being more protected in a way that they hadn't been previously when women have been cast aside. The fact that you're not hearing these voices now, that people are not rampantly saying we need to make sure if there's a biological physical difference that exists, that we can continue to protect women's sports, because this is actually a reality. You undermine women when you undermine their legitimacy, and you do that every time that you put them at a physical disadvantage in a sport. Now, not every sport is the same. There are sports where gender doesn't play as big a role, but there are plenty of sports, and we saw it with the Leah Thomas case in swimming, where you can break records and win national championships as a transgender athlete. And that really does eliminates the power of women's sports and the power of women.
Why do you think they're not speaking up?
Because they can't fight the wokeness. Who wants to be the lefty that pushes back and says, this isn't fair, this isn't right? Because then they will be going against the ethos that they all have to declare to about not coming out on the court for the national anthem and pushing these kind of woke ideology agenda items, right? When you see that, they don't want to be the person, and they might not actually believe it either. They might actually believe that a transgender athlete should. And so they, without knowing it, will undermine the legitimacy of women in sports that way.
How many times have you been called a racist or something phobic?
More than I can count. I mean, I'm a Republican conservative, and I talk on TV. You know, it's.
All right, I got to go back to the Buffalo Bills because I'm fascinated by this. I have a crush, if that's what you call it, on Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson, if I were a defensive coordinator in the NFL, would be among the most difficult people to guard. He's hurt. I also think that Patrick Mahomes is the best, most interesting quarterback in my lifetime, and I'm old as hell. So I ask you, as a Buffalo Bills fan, who poses the biggest threat?
Oh, if I'm looking between, a playoff game with Mahomes,
anyone.
I'm always going to be worried about Patrick Mahomes. I think he is an absolutely elite quarterback. The way and him with Travis Kelce, I mean, it's unbelievable what they are able to do. But if I'm other teams, I'm worried about Josh Allen as well, because he is that guy. He is so good. And he could be better under pressure, but honestly, so could Mahomes. And people try to compare Mahomes and Allen, right? Mahomes has a Super Bowl victory, but doesn't Mahomes have like 11 interceptions this season as well? And Josh Allen does too? Like, where's the conversation about that?
See, I am weird in a lot of ways. Here's one of them. I coached for like 30 years, and when you coach basketball, the easiest thing to do as and I broadcast for 10 on ESPN, the easiest thing to do is to say, all right, Aaron's the best player. She should take the shot at the end of the game. However, what you do in coaching is you read body language all the time, and you read the eyes of your team. And you go, all right, she ain't right here. You go, Dan, you take the shot in this game. Here's what I said about Josh Allen. Josh Allen played in a golf event. He played with Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. And I said this, Josh Allen's eyes tell me that he's never going to win a Super Bowl. He looked like the little brother to those guys, and you can't win a Super Bowl being the little brother. Do you understand that, and how ridiculous is that to you?
Josh has grown up a lot since he's joined the league. I think now, if you have seen him on the sidelines, he is willing victory in some of these games. He is getting the bench fired up. He's keeping them engaged. He is the biggest cheerleader on the sideline. So maybe at one point during a golf tournament, which wasn't a football game, he might have looked a little intimidated. But on that football field, when he's looking, you can't shake him.
The reason I ask you is, do you understand that first, is because everyone crushes my soul. They always say, you're the dumbest, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But I stand by it because I told ESPN that Kristaps Porzingis would never get the Knicks out of the lottery. All right, I got to go to this. It's a political question, or actually a political thought. I am of the belief that we as Americans should not be compared to every other nation. People say, well, look at inflation across the world. I think we should be better. I think we should be more advanced. I think we should be a leader. Am I wrong to discount inflation across the world when I am criticizing inflation in the United States?
No, you're not, because the reality is inflation here in the United States affects us every day. Yes, on the global markets, when you're considering inflation in other countries, and if you're doing large global deals or something along those lines, sure, that's a conversation. But every day when you're in the grocery store looking at the price of milk, eggs, gas, home heating, whatever the case may be, it's more expensive now. So yes, we should focus on the fact that what we have seen from Democrats when they continue to spend recklessly in DC has fueled inflation here in the United States. It is making things more expensive. And that reality being what we experience every day should be more important than what's happening in other places.
All right, another thing. First time in my life, usually I pay two types of tax. I pay my corporation, I pay that tax by the end of the year, and then I pay my personal taxes when everybody else does. It's the first time in my life I don't want to pay taxes. Like, I don't want to. I see where our money's going, and I don't like where my money. I don't like Buttigieg flying privately when he's supposed to be telling us what we're supposed to do. I don't like an open checkbook to Ukraine. I don't like funding drag shows, things of that nature. Let me ask you a question. Am I late to the party? Like, should I have been questioning this a long time ago? Now, remember, I'm old.
No, here's the thing. There's been a lot of spending that has changed with Joe Biden and the White House, right? Under the Trump administration, you saw a lot of taxpayers' dollars being spent on rebuilding the military, things along those lines. Now those priorities have changed because somebody's different in the White House. That's not indicative to say that all of a sudden that this has been something that's been happening for years and years and years and years. This is really a shorter time frame when you think about the fact that Joe Biden was sworn into office on January 20th, 2021. What Democrats have been able to do with their outrageous spending has really caused an issue in such a short term. And that's why everybody's looking at it now going, oh my gosh, look at the devastation that's happened economically within 2.5 years, 3 years of this administration.
When you look at what we're doing with the Ukraine, basically an open checkbook, what is your thought?
You're going to hear from a lot of House Republicans that they're going to want oversight of that, right? They're going to want to know where the dollars are going and what the accountability is. I think that's a very good stance for Republicans to take. It's not to say that we shouldn't be supportive, but what it is saying is that we should know where our dollars are going. That's a reasonable stance to take.
Is the Twitter files that Elon Musk is releasing a big deal, or like liberals say, it's just a yawner?
Liberals say it's a yawner because they want it to go away. But in reality, everything that Republicans have been saying about shadow banning, about suppression, about our voices being disproportionately targeted by social media companies was proven correct and accurate. So, of course, Democrats want to say, oh, that's old news, the same way the White House wants to say that the Hunter Biden laptop story is old news. They don't want to have to take accountability and accept the fact that this is the reality of the situation now.
When you look at what's going on in this crypto scandal, I love talking to you because I can ask you about anything. I'm getting ready to ask you about the Buffalo Braves from 1976 and if Bob McAdoo and Randy Smith should have won a championship, but I won't get into that. When you look at what's happening here in the crypto world, where, let's be honest, I don't know. It seems like we're looking at a bit of a Bernie Madoff deal. Anybody going to go to jail on this for any significant amount of time?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Bankman-Fried spends the majority, if not the rest of his life behind bars. You're going to see a lot in Washington, D.C. coming up regarding oversight on the crypto, on cryptocurrency, on blockchain. This is something that Congress has been slow to step up to step and put some regulatory infrastructure around because they don't understand it. They don't understand how blockchain works, how cryptocurrency works. So until they all get up to speed, the reality that's what Sam Bankman-Fried did, really just complete and total fraud. they're not going to be able to better regulate that until they get a better understanding of what it is and how it happens. So you're going to see, I think, a lot in the next year on this coming out of DC. And I think you will see SBF spend a lot of his life in prison, because I think he'll get extradited back to the U.S. and stand trial.
Should liberal politicians or conservative politicians, any politicians, have to give the money back?
Absolutely. I think if you have any of the money from SBF, you should give it back. Wash your hands of it. That man clearly committed a fraud. He stole money from investors. That money should not, if you are any member of Congress, Democrat or Republican, and you have been any money that came from him, wash your hands of it, give it back, because you end the story right then and there. You don't have to continue to make this an issue for yourself. There's no reason to keep that money.
Do you think any will give it back?
I think people will give it back, but I also think that some people will keep it and just kind of keep their heads down on it, because, you know, everybody kind of took money from this guy. So there's a little bit of culpability all around. So, you know, I'm sure it will go both ways, but I really think everybody should just give that money back.
Last question, who do the Bills play in the Super Bowl?
You know, I'm not sure. I could say, you know, the Cowboys, except I think that my husband and I would have a really hard night because he's a Cowboys fan and he would have to root for the Buffalo Bills, because that's just the only choice in our house now.
There's no chance. I'm just telling you as a husband, there's no chance that if my team's in the Super Bowl, I love my wife, I love her, but there's no chance for I'm changing allegiance in the house. I'll go do whatever I got to do to make my day good. You can shun me if you must, but no chance am I switching because my wife decides I have to root for her team when my team is in it. No shot. Zero. None.
When it comes to the Buffalo Bills, it's got to be the Bills. Bills all day.
Last question. Why hasn't Buffalo ever had a Major League Baseball team? Too close to New York City?
No, not really. It's about 6.5 hours by car, probably longer than that, from New York City up to Buffalo. The media markets are very different, very far apart. I don't know why there hasn't been a professional team, but, you know, Buffalo is a very good sports city.
It's a great sports
Probably because
city.
of Toronto, actually. Probably because of the Blue Jays. They're right across the lake.
Oh, absolutely. What am I thinking? Of course. Are you a Blue Jay fan?
No, I'm a Yankees fan.
All right. I don't blame you. Hey, Aaron, great stuff. We're so appreciative of you coming on. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You can talk to her about anything. Like, so this idiot, this clown, I guarantee you I couldn't talk to this idiot about the same things I could talk to Aaron about. I guarantee you. This is what pisses me off about people. It just drives me nuts. You know what I mean? So what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest. And at the end of the day, that's what our show does. Are we going to take a break and come back, or do you want me to get into the Dammy Awards, which I ain't mad about? What do you want to do, Dylan? Oh, we got a new coach at Purdue. Hey, let's go to break, and then we'll come back. I got to show you what the new coach at Purdue did first day, first moment on the job. We'll be right back. It's pretty good.
College football's in trouble. There's a lot of people trying to keep it from happening.
I think it's a general consensus across the college football landscape. We want to play football.
College football is a huge part of the fall. It's a huge part of Americana itself.
It just really felt like people in the country needed college football to just feel a little sense of normal.
Big news from the Big Ten as the conference releasing its 10-game football schedule.
We go home thinking that we're going to be practicing the next day. Everybody gets a text, stay home, everything's canceled.
Big Ten fall football season has been canceled.
We just believe collectively there's too much uncertainty.
I guess what I'm trying to understand, though, Kevin, is that was the same position you had 6 days ago.
The Big Ten is an unmitigated disaster.
There was a ton of confusion. There was presidents saying one thing, there was coaches saying another.
Players had to be silent, coaches had to be silent, ADs had to be silent.
People said, how does what you just did make any sense?
And nobody really knew what the heck happened when they voted to cancel the season.
You make this huge historical announcement, and then Kevin Warren never does a press conference to explain it. It was like a masterclass in how not to handle a crisis.
The word really that was lacking in all this is transparency.
It felt like a lot of stuff was happening behind closed doors.
Even today, we still don't know what occurred.
So you don't tell us parents, that's fine, but you're not telling the young men that it affects.
We have to make a decision to save the season. What about the history books? What about the rivalry games? What about Paul Bunyan's axe? How is that not going to go to a team this year?
This is a failure of epic magnitude. The Big Ten presidents and leaders should be held accountable for the disastrous decisions that they're making.
Then the commissioner doubles down, saying his decision will not be revisited.
And that's the point. It felt like a war was declared on the Big Ten and Kevin Warren.
Everything turned political.
Because if this is medical, then you would have stopped the game of football a long time ago.
I think the Big Ten leaders will tell you that they probably made a mistake in hindsight.
If I had the chance to do it all over last year, I would make the same decisions that we made.
Hey, welcome back. That is a lot of fun. I mean, that is always a blast when I talk to Aaron Perini. I mean, she is awesome. She is one of those people that you can talk to about anything. All right. Purdue got a new football coach. I don't know whether he's any good or not. He's 36-year-old Ryan Walters, defensive coordinator from Illinois. Illinois lost to Indiana, so how good could he really be? Again, maybe I'm just being an Indiana guy and my Indiana roots take hold. But there is a freshman named Devin Mockabee. Devin Mockabee ran for over 900 yards this year. I would argue that Devin Mockabee is the guy that, well, frankly, beat Indiana. Jeff Brom made an adjustment, started getting the ball to Mockabee, started doing all those kind of things. Next thing you know, Indiana had no answer in the second half, and the rivalry game went to Purdue, and it went to Purdue going away. Let me show you what Purdue's coach, Ryan Walters, did with Devin Mockabee. First thing he did upon getting the job.
You know, first, where's Devin at? Yeah, Devin, what's up, man? Stand up, bro. So obviously, like, I played against y'all, right? When I found out he was a walk-on, I'm like, what the hell going on over there? So first order of business, I'm gonna pull rank right now, and you on scholarship, all right, dog? So that, I guess that's what it feels like to flex a little bit as a head coach, you know what I'm saying? So congratulations, man. Couldn't be more happy for you.
I love those moments. It actually, one of those, I'm sending this to you, Dylan, to see, and Ryan, to see if we could play this at the end of the show. John Beeline actually did that to my son, and he did it in a different way. We'll try to play it. It got over like 2 million views. But Devin Mockabee, what I've been told, the reason he wasn't on scholarship was because his parents work at Purdue, or his dad works at Purdue. I don't know whether or not that's true or not. I didn't really pay attention. But Devin Mockabee is an absolute straight out, no joke, stud. Stud. So good for Ryan Walters. Now, I would like to see Ryan Walters succeed. I hope that he does. I like Purdue football because, frankly, I like when Purdue's good. I like when Indiana's good in all sports. It makes it more interesting around here. But I don't think this is a great hire. I don't. Maybe it is. Hire a defensive guy in an offensive world. I understand. And without experience, we'll see. I hope it works out. But I'm not going to go on board. My friends in the local media, because, well, there's a lot of reasons. Oh, it's a great hire. They also told you that Archie Miller was a great hire at Indiana basketball. I told you it was a nonsense hire. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the bottom line is one of two things is going to happen. This guy Walters is going to be good enough and he's going to leave, or this guy Walters is going to be bad enough, they're going to fire him. It's exactly what happened with Jeff Brom, and that'll be what happens here. And the bar isn't too big at Purdue. Let's not act like this is some football machine here. I mean, this is just, it's Purdue. All right, let's discuss the damn awards. Now, we've all been there. We've all been at a football game where somebody has been so hammered that they legitimately don't know where they're at. Let's check out this Cleveland Browns fan and his antics. Here he is. Whoa, hey, hold on. Hold the phone. Now, I would argue that Jeff Neace, at Jeff, N-E-A-C-E, is a jerk. I mean, I would always argue that people that decide we're going to, well, he's drinking White Claws, so this guy can't be that tough, but we always decide, well, you know, I got to videotape people. See, this should be illegal. It should be illegal for us to do it. It should be illegal for everyone to do it. It should be illegal, but I got to tell you, it's pretty funny. You know, one of the things that you never want to do, you never want to wake up and go, oh, man, where was I? What did I do? How did it go about the business of me falling down? But White Claws got this guy. Down goes the Browns. Lee and I one day, this is a true story, we're at a bar. We're grabbing a sandwich, we're having a beer, and there is how this ended up. Down goes White Claw guy. Don't be White Claw guy. Don't drink so many White Claws that you end up like this. You know what happens like this? People pee on you. They do. They throw things on you. They kick you. Nobody wants to be kicked. Nobody wants to be peed on. No one wants garbage thrown at them. But if you're just going to lay down there, people do that. And then you know what else happens? What else happens is now you got to deal with that. You're on a Sunday afternoon. You're trying to have a good time. You have a few beers, and then next thing you know, you're sleeping and people are peeing and throwing garbage on you. Don't be the guy that people throw garbage on. Don't be the girl that's crying. Seriously, don't be that person. There's always a girl crying at games. So drunk she's crying. Next time you go to a college football game, go out at halftime. There's always a drunk girl crying. That's why I like the Army-Navy game. Nobody was drunk and crying. Except maybe, well, our Navy after they got beat. But nobody in this, oh my God. God dang. Next time you go to a college football game, you'll see her. She'll be there. Next time you go to a Browns game, that guy will be there. Not that guy, but that guy's same person. You know what I mean? He'll be there. Oh, man. There's an alleged Russian spy ring busted in, of all places, New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Now, I'm going to tell you something. When I think of Russian spy rings, I'm not thinking New Hampshire. I'm sorry. You know I'm thinking New Hampshire? I think you're thinking the same thing. Maple syrup. Yeah, maple syrup. I'm not thinking, hey, I wonder if there's some kind of, Russian spy ring going on here. This is a nice, I don't know houses. A nice Tudor, a nice Pulte home. One of those deals. Next thing you know, yep, see, Jennifer said it. Drunk girl was crying at the Purdue IU football game, and Jennifer was laughing at her. You're damn right. You're damn right you were laughing at her. You should have laughed at her. I'm telling you, every single football game you go to, every one you go to, there is a drunk girl crying. Drunk girl. Everyone. Always. You can't swing a dead cat. Anyway, so the Russians here, yeah, we should change the name of your show to Don't Be That Guy. Maybe that'll be a new segment. Let's get Aaron and Dylan and Ryan. Let's have a discussion and see if maybe that's what we should do. Don't be that guy. Sometimes I'm that guy. I've been that guy. Hey, look, I'm not so sanctimonious that I don't act like I'm that guy. I've been that guy. We've all been that guy. I ain't mad at that guy, but don't be that guy. Hey, look, don't have a Russian spy ring out in the New Hampshire area. There's no reason. This house looks innocuous. This house looks great. But I've always said this. You never know. You never, ever know what's going on when the front door closes. Maybe there's a Russian spy ring going on. You never know. All right? A 90-year-old woman received her college degree in Illinois. Northern Illinois University. 90 years old. She dropped out of college way back when. And I think it's safe to say way back when. Joyce DeFawn, 90 years old, from Geneseo, Illinois. She's the oldest person ever to graduate from Northern Illinois. She originally, in 1951, attended Northern Illinois State Teachers College. That's what a lot of schools were called back then. She attended for 3.5 years, dropped out, got married, started a family. In 2019, she returned and took online courses to get her bachelor's degree. She says you really can't put a value on it, just don't give up. I mean, if you have the opportunity, take the opportunity, and you never know. A lot of us get sidetracked, but we always come back, and it is worth it. Good for you. You know what else? There aren't enough women named Joyce. We need more women named Joyce. This is interesting. We live in a world of documentaries. We live in a world where we're all looking for the next good thing. I've just watched a documentary on a couple of weightlifters, bodybuilders. The woman killed the guy. I don't know the name of it, Killer Jane or something like that. I'm into them. I'll watch a bunch of them. You got to be really, really, really bad to have a documentary and it makes $81, per theater. That's it. So AOC, the beloved fraud that is AOC, tax the rich. She wears a $35,000 dress. She's under investigation by the ethics committee. You know what's coming next. There will be some charge from her of some type racism or some type sexism. Remember when she famously said that people that criticize her just want to have sex with her? I get her. I understand it. I had a reporter here in town that I always felt like, what's she after me so much for? My wife actually made that point. Anyway, long story short, $81 per theater when her new climate change documentary hit theaters. Let me ask you a question. Does anything that's woke do anything profitable? Does anything woke do anything good? Does anything woke provide any type of inspiration? Or have we all gotten smart enough to know that people like AOCDEFGHIJK and her crew, her squad, whatever she calls her and her little minions, are just so full of crap and so against the American way that we no longer pay attention? You say, Dan, you're talking about it on your show. I say I'm talking about it to make fun of it. And I like making fun of people that are inherently corrupt and inherently woke when it doesn't go well. I'm just telling you. $35,000 dress says tax the rich to a gala of all rich people. Man, she really showed him. She really inspired us. You could be an inspiration, AOC. Your story is awesome. Bartender to being an important person throughout the entire United States, regardless of why you're important, you certainly are. But you become a clown. I'm sorry, you become a clown, and you become a poster child for things that aren't great. You do. You are. And the other one in her squad married her damn brother. But what do we care about that? Because it's in Minneapolis. What the hell's her name? She married a brother. These people are nuts. The world is insane, and I am here for it. Good for Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, he of the hot mother. Zach Wilson, he of the New York Jets. Zach Wilson, he of the high draft choice. Keep your chin up, son. Chin up. Chin, chin. Chin, chin. Jolly good time. Chin, chin. Was that offensive? I don't know. Hell, everything's offensive, so I'm guessing it was. Chin up. I had a bunch of people tell me that the other day. Chin up. Okay. Well, Zach Wilson will tell you, hey, look, he has all the confidence in the world in himself. He better. Look, Zach Wilson could end up like Ryan Tannehill, go to another team and be really good. How about Jared Goff? We had Lomas Brown on earlier. Jared Goff talked about it. What did he say? Lomas Brown talked about it. He said, hey, look, here's the deal, man. Jared Goff's come here. You can make the argument MVP. I don't know, not MVP of the league, but MVP of his own team. He's resurrected his career. Look up the name Jim Plunkett, going way back. Ton of guys. Warren Moon switched teams. Warren Moon had to go to Canada to make his bones back here. The world is full of guys that have made a comeback like Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's mother apparently is on Instagram, and we know, she's hot. Well, let me tell you, and if that offends you, I really don't care because she knows she's hot. She knows what she's doing, and I like it. But she's telling us, hey, look, she's always telling us, hump somebody on a Wednesday. That's a woman I can get down with. Lisa Wilson, find her on Instagram. Every hump day, she's talking about humping a stranger on Wednesday. God bless you, Mrs. Wilson. You have all the confidence in the world, too. You're the man. All right. I don't really have a bet right now, which is why we are getting Jeff Rowe Records on our show. I have had bad luck. I took a bad beat the other day, and then yesterday I had an idiot tell me, hey, man, I think Maryland's really good. Take him at home against UCLA. Yeah? All Maryland did was lose by not 20, not 25, 27 at home. I had a little blogger boy come at me because Maryland won a few games. He came at me saying, see, we can get a better coach than Mark Turgeon. Yeah, you just lost by 27. Jeff Rowe Records, baby. How are you, my friend?
Great, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be back here and talking football with you. There's 4 days of NFL action this week, so I got actually picks for all 4 days, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on them.
I want to hear it. Let's go. Give me your picks. Let's start with your first one. I'm writing them down right now.
All right, I'm going Thursday Night Football. I'm taking the under in 49ers Seahawks. Most of the money is coming in on the over, but this total has ticked down from a 43.5 point opener. We got San Francisco with a banged up rookie making his second start in a primetime game versus a division opponent who's in a must-win situation. Oh, and his best wide receiver, Deebo Samuel, will not be playing. So San Francisco's offense is compromised. More importantly, San Francisco's defense is insane, Dan. They shut out Seattle's offense in their week 2 win. San Francisco beat Seattle 27-7. They forced 3 Seattle turnovers, and Seattle's only score was actually off of a blocked field goal touchdown. The trends point to this game going under. Primetime games are 17, 24, and 2 to the under. So I'm really liking the under in this one. It should be a slow-paced game. San Francisco has the second slowest pace in the NFL, Dan. They ran it 45 times in week 2 versus Seattle, and Seattle has one of the worst third down defenses, so San Francisco is just going to be running it all day. So I like under in the first game or in the Thursday night football game.
I'm writing all these down because one thing I know is when things go south, I want advice. All right, we're talking football here. What do you got next? What's going on next?
Yeah, I'm going to Saturday. I'm going to take the Dolphins +7 against the Buffalo Bills. Sharp action hit this one from Miami +7.5 down to 7 instantly. I think it's a buy low spot for the Dolphins, Dan. They've lost 2 straight road games, couldn't cover in either one of them. But the teams they lost to aren't chumps. They lost to San Francisco. Again, San Francisco's got one of the best defenses in the NFL. And they lost at the Chargers. And Justin Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So I think it's a buy low spot for Miami. Their 21-19 week 3 win over Buffalo, to me, it foreshadowed Buffalo's season. Buffalo cannot put teams away because their run game is trash. So I think Miami's going to be able to hang in there. They actually have an edge in the trenches, both in run blocking and pass protection. And given the weather forecast, this game should be won in the trenches. So I'm taking the points with Miami. How do you feel about that? Are you getting down any of these Saturday games?
Here's what I need. I need Tua to start throwing the ball to his team better. That's what I need. I need that. I'm taking the Vikings and I'm giving the Colts 4. I may bet that down to 3. Colts starting Matt Ryan. Colts are a mess. Maybe they'll play defense a little bit, and I think the Vikings have a toughness about them, Jeff, that is going to show in this game. They got embarrassed. It didn't work out well for them. I'm taking the Vikings and I'm giving 3 or 4. I can't decide. How about you? What do you think about that one?
I've heard a lot of sharp people also back in the Vikings. That's the only way I would play it. It feels like a buy low spot for the Vikings, just losing to the Lions and kind of eking past the Jets the week prior. Also, the Colts got an initial new coach bump, but we've seen Jeff Saturday and Matt Ryan kind of come back down to earth after Jeff Saturday's win in his first game against the Raiders. So if I were to play either side of that, it would definitely be the Vikings because -4 is just it's a cheap number. And if you're buying it down to 3, I really like that look, actually.
Look, I just, you know what? The Colts are the Colts. I don't think there's anything. Jeff Saturday spoke yesterday, and all he said was, I, and I got tired of him. All right, you said you had a couple more. What else you got?
Yeah, I'm going to the Sunday window here. I'm taking the Jets -115 on the money line. Still think it's at -115. Dan, I made the Jets -3, so I think we're getting 2 or 3 points worth of value here. The Jets have a better net yards per play, a better net EPA per play, and a better straight-up record than the Detroit Lions. It's a sell-high spot for the Detroit Lions, who are 5-1 straight up. They've covered 6 straight games, but 5 of Detroit's last 6 opponents have had a below average to terrible defense. Detroit opened last week as road dogs, and now they're pick'em on the road versus a New York Jets team with a winning record. That's crazy to me. Also, I'm fading Jared Goff on the road in winter conditions. Listen to these home road splits for Jared Goff. This season, Dan, Jared Goff has thrown 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions at home, 277 yards per game, and a 107 quarterback rating. On the road, 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 50 less passing yards per game, and an 81 quarterback rating. He can't play on the road. He's not good in winter conditions. And this Jets defense is nasty. I'm taking the Jets with my apologies to Lomas Brown.
Woo! You're going against what everybody in the country's loving right now, the Detroit Football Lions, right? I mean, people are loving the Fighting Dan Campbell's big boy. I like it. I like it. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I love the Detroit Lions. I bet them the last 2 weeks, and they've made me money. But now's the time to jump ship on them. I'm playing just a Jets defense that are world beaters. Everyone's acting like the Detroit Lions are the greatest show on turf. They got shut out by the Patriots earlier this year. They got hammered by the Dallas Cowboys, and the New York Jets defense is it's in that group. It's in that tier. What do you think? Do you have any Sunday looks here?
I am not going to mess around with the Fighting Dan Campbells. I am a big fan of yours. And I know what you're saying, but I will not mess around with the Fighting Dan Campbells. To me, the Fighting Dan Campbells got some weird stuff going on right here. And I will also argue, I think they're pretty talented. I do. I said this earlier. I watched them play for 2 days against the Colts when the Colts were supposed to be good, right? Everybody was telling me how good the Colts are. I got to tell you, I said it. Look, no, they're not good. No, I will not take them. Your last one is the Rams and the Packers. I'm going to go the opposite with you. I'm going to take the Packers on the money line. I'm not afraid to put some money where my mouth is. I don't know about Baker Mayfield, that whole west to east thing, cold weather. I'm not in love with Baker Mayfield. And the other one that I'm going to do, I'm going to take the Giants minus 4.5 against the Commanders. I'm not sure why, but I like the I don't know why. I think Brian Dable, I think they bounce back from an embarrassment. They may lose, but I think they cover 4.5.
I agree with you there. The Washington-New York matchups are typically very tight. Daniel Jones actually plays really well against Washington, and these teams played 2 weeks ago, and it was a tie. I don't know where the 4.5 points is coming. So I like that look.
Right.
And I'm interested in hearing more of why you like Green Bay, because to me, the Packers have way more questionable motivation in this spot. God knows what Aaron Rodgers was up to in his bye week. He probably wasn't watching extra game film. He might have been, hallucinating, doing some ayahuasca. And we know, Dan, Baker Mayfield is playing for an NFL future. There's rumblings that Matt Stafford could retire. And either way, Baker could earn a backup role on a Sean McVay team, which would be Baker Mayfield failing up. It would be a huge win for him. Also, I think the Rams defense can make Green Bay's offense one-dimensional by taking away the run. The Los Angeles Rams are 4th in yards per rush allowed, and they still have 2 all-pro caliber defenders in Jalen Ramsey and Bobby Wagner. Don't think Aaron Donald's going to give it a go this week, but if he does, I love this bet even more.
Yeah, you're probably right, and I'm probably wrong. I'm not, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just thinking in the past. Here's my thing with quarterbacks. I hate it. I hated betting against Peyton Manning, no matter what the score was. I hate betting against Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers because it feels like if you're betting against them giving points, they rip out your soul. They rip out your absolute, they take your soul and they pull it out and they twist it and they stick it back in. That's how I look at it, Jeff. That is.
I got
it. Hey,
have you ever seen Peyton Manning fall flat on his face and in the middle of like an MVP prime run? Like Aaron Rodgers won back-to-back MVPs, and this team is dead. This is a throwaway year for him. I'm with you. Fading Aaron Rodgers is dangerous. It's burned me a lot of times over the years, but I don't see what the Packers have done to be laying 7 against anyone in the NFL. So I'll take the points.
That is
2 bad teams.
That is a great point. That's a great point. Give me
Dan,
some DraftKings.
You're going to win
what do you got
this
going
week.
with DraftKings?
Yeah,
I want to.
I was just going to say we have 2 promotions with them. You can access those promotions by going to outkick.com/bet. One, you bet $5 on any NFL team's money line. You can win $150 in free bets. Also, DraftKings has an awesome $1,000 deposit bonus match. Access those at outkick.com/bet. Read any of my handicaps at outkick.com/betting. Best of luck to you, Dan. Dan, I think you're going to turn around this week. Every time I come on your show, you crush it. So I think you're gonna bounce back this week.
I'm taking your advice. I'm going under tonight. I'm debating whether to take Presbyterian over Elon on a noon basketball game, but we'll see. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
Take care, buddy.
Hey, if I'm betting Presbyterian or Elon, I don't know what in the heck's going on, but it's a noon basketball game. I've been sick. So I'm probably just going to hang out at my house. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We showed you earlier about a kid named Devin Maccabee. Devin Maccabee got a scholarship. My son was in the exact similar position. Although Devin Maccabee, was a great player, my son was a good player. Actually helped Michigan as a real walk-on, not any other than that. But here's what John Beilein did to give my son a scholarship, a lot like what Ryan Walters did to give Maccabee.
Yep. Sorry to bother you, Coach. We got to talk to one of your players.
It's come to our attention that your conduct on campus is related to a number of ongoing investigations. Your involvement in such matters will require your immediate presence in front of the university compliance office right now.
Okay.
Please grab your hat and coat. You'll be escorted to the compliance office. Upon there, you'll sign the papers to be awarded a full men's basketball scholarship for the 2017 winter term at the university.
That's my son. I told him, I said, you look so nervous. What are you doing on campus? But what a great moment. And what a nervous moment. He called me right after. He was kind of crying. He goes, Dad, they gave me a scholarship. I can't talk right now. But they gave me a scholarship. You got to see the video. And I didn't know what he was talking about, right? And then all of a sudden this came out and it's been played, I don't know, millions and millions and millions of times. What a great day. Aaron, thank you. Ryan, Dylan, thank you guys so much. Haley, you were awesome on the show. Man, Lomas Brown came on. Are you kidding me? Lomas Brown, Aaron Perini came on the show. You just heard our friend Jeff Clark came on the show. What an absolute blast we had today. I mean, it was fantastic. And you YouTube folk, I can't thank you enough. You guys are out here. You guys are going at it. You guys aren't messing around. All of you that watch on Twitter, I cannot thank you all enough. But we're having a great week. Tomorrow we're going to have an even better day. Lomas Brown, Haley, Jeff Clark, Aaron Perini, thank you all so much. Ryan, Dylan, Aaron, Haley. Hell, let's just thank everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great afternoon, everybody.